The Apartment, Billy Wilder.
I don't know what to say. This award, of course, belongs to the entire team. The technicians and the actors, the extras, the wonderful people on the back lot, and the wonderful miracles in the front office. But I think it would be only proper to cut it right in half and to give it to the two most valuable players, Mr. Jack Lemmon and Miss Shirley Maclaine. Thank you.
I first have to say that I would like to dedicate this to the man who inspired my performance, a man who has been my friend and my mentor, and since my father died, a little bit like my father, whose performance in The Apartment stands as one of the finest we've ever had. Jack Lemmon, wherever you are, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Podcast-wise, there has never been anything like it. Boy-wise, party-wise, or otherwise-wise. It's The Apartment, Billy Wilder's classic, with Jack Lemmon and Shirley Maclaine this week on Boy Party. Hello and welcome to Boy Party, the podcast about movies where two massive stars shared the screen. This week, I am joined by my
elevator boy himself.
Well, I was going to go with my employee who lets me use his house for all of my dodgy dealings.
Your affairs.
My affairs. Mm-hmm. I'm literally in his house right now. I won't leave him alone. His hair is wet. He's sopping wet. He's been out in the rain.
I've been out in the rain.
Because I've been here watching Criterion Closet videos on his TV all evening.
Eating all my treats.
Eating all his little mini magnums from the Aldi frozen section. What a healthy dynamic. And in return, he gets to appear on the weekly Boy Party podcast.
I do. I've been promoted to co-host. Like. I simply sat in the room.
That
is so rude.
Shane's profound familiarity with the career of Shirley Maclaine.
More if you didn't cut me off so much.
Shane's expertise on the career of Shirley Maclaine is going to really have you just nattering.
It is. I've learned a lot since yesterday when I asked, "Is she still alive?"
Yeah, true. Bro's gonna be noshing on pills, noshing on those antihistamines.
Oh yeah.
I've never heard anyone say noshing on pills before this film.
Well, you know what? If you listen to all this podcast, you won't need to nosh on any pills. You will be dead.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So welcome to the podcast, the party, I should say.
The apartment. No,
the apartment. Yeah. Every week we discuss movies that give audiences 2 for the price of 1 on Legends of the Silver Screen. In the case of this movie, it's 3, but I am not interested enough in Fred MacMurray's career to include him in the Boy Party discussion. Apologies to all my MacMurray heads. He is a great actor. I don't feel as though he is quite at the star level of our 2 other leads in The Apartment. So.
He's at an unusual level where I recognize his face from modern films, but he still looks like he does in modern films in this.
Fred MacMurray.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think you've seen him in anything more recent than this.
You said he was on like Flubber and like he's in like some 80s stuff.
No, like late 60s stuff.
Really?
I said he was in the original Flubber.
Oh.
Like he's in all those movies.
Maybe I'm confusing him with someone else. Does he look like someone else more modern?
I think you're mixing. I think he looks like a couple of more recent actors.
Yeah.
No, he's like in his 40s or 50s in this. Like his career really kind of runs from the 40s to the 60s. Like he worked with Billy Wilder in the 40s in Double Indemnity, which is sort of one of 4 Billy Wilder movies that people will commonly cite as one of the greatest films ever made. A rare feat, actually. And then he kind of goes up to this, then he does a few Disney movies in the 60s. But not the subject of today's episode, because I think Lemmon and Maclaine are too fun of a duo to spend too much time on Mr. MacMurray. If this film was made today, I argued that role would probably be played by J.K. Simmons or someone like that.
He's kind of your typecast barking boss at this stage.
Boss, but as I was saying, this is one of several Billy Wilder films people go nuts for, and it really feels like I've never cited Billy Wilder as one of my favorite directors, but when you look at his career, you're like, oh yes, all the best films ever made by this man. So he made Sunset Boulevard, he made The Lost Weekend, he made The Apartment, he made Double Indemnity, and he made Some Like It Hot. And I feel like there is an extremely intense fan base for each of those films. But then I would argue one of his two best films is probably Ace in the Hole, which is a film you would really like, with Kirk Douglas as a kind of disgraceful tabloid trash journalist who finds a man stuck down a hole at the quarry, and everybody is like obsessed with whether the man's gonna get out of the hole. It's kind of 127 hours style, like he's just, his arm is stuck or whatever. And then Kirk Douglas sort of manipulates the situation for personal gain, because he's getting so many, let's just say, clicks on the story, that he starts to prolong your man's suffering, and then starts to sleep with your man's wife, and then it turns into a whole thing. Great film. But then Mr. Wilder also directed Sabrina, which is a delightful Audrey Hepburn, Humphrey Bogart rom-com. He made Stalag 17, William Holden, Prisoner of War camp movie. He made Witness for the Prosecution with Charles Laughton, which people adore. And then The 7-Year Itch and Some Like It Hot, both Marilyn Monroe's probably most beloved films. And a bunch of Jack Lemmon collabs after this, including Irma la Douce, also with Shirley MacLaine, and The Fortune Cookie, which is a insurance fraud movie with Lemmon and Mathau that you'd like a lot, and then Avanti! Which is a 1972 Jack Lemmon movie where they go to Italy, which I remembered being fantastic, just from kind of throwing it on TV with my dad when I was 8, and then I watched it 2 Easters ago and found it to be interminably dull relative to my memory of it. But that's not to cast a shadow on any of his other films. So, I'll say it right here, right now. I have underappreciated Billy Wilder. He is a phenomenal filmmaker, and he made lots and lots of great films. And he is of Polish Jewish descent, and had a very interesting life. And he died in 2002 at the age of 95, just after Jack Lemmon, who died in 2001, and he was at his funeral along with such wonderful people as Kevin Spacey, who we'll get back to. Circle back around to that in just a moment. So this is the first Billy Wilder film we're covering on the podcast, and hopefully not the last. He sort of has these 3 dominant leading men who are Jack Lemmon and William Holden, and I've forgotten who the other one I was going to say is. But anyway, mostly those 2 that I would associate with him, but also Fred McMurray, who worked with him in Double Indemnity. Anyway, that's my spiel. So, Shane had not seen The Apartment before yesterday.
I had not. And
this is the sort of film you usually respond well to when I throw it on for you. So, I take it that you got some value out of it anyway.
Yes, and you described it well when you called this SpongeBob cinema.
It's low-level SpongeBob cinema.
SpongeBob cinema, where like
the purest form of SpongeBob cinema, it would be something like Mother ! I always cite. But then I guess Punch Drunk Love is a little bit of SpongeBob cinema.
This is a kind of a naive, overly innocent man who thinks he's doing a very kind, polite thing.
Yes,
helping out his buddies,
but
he's ultimately been taken advantage of.
Yeah,
like. At the same time, it's hard to know whether he's aware that he's facilitating these affairs, whether he's aware of his kind of corporate bootlicking to get to the top. It doesn't come across as that. He's not presented as a bad guy for kind of career chasing.
No.
So it's unusual.
He's naive and gullible and easily trampled over, which is all kind of classic tenets of the Jack Lemmon star persona. But he does know the affairs are going on, because he'll be hiding in the shadows outside his own house when his various middle manager men will come out with their mistresses and be like, "Darling, please book me a taxi home." "Oh, I'll get you a taxi home." Like, he's always hiding when
there's no real voice there telling him, like, making him question this.
No,
he doesn't have his own wife who's like even Miss Kubelik.
Something like that.
Kubelik, yes.
He's like, it's kind of weird that he's single, but then also like his I don't know. He's like not slimy enough to have obtained a wife through slimy means.
Yeah.
But then he's also has a poor comprehension of the female experience.
There's a childishness to him.
Yeah. But like it's relatable, let's say, to one's experience in your late teens and early 20s. This guy's in his late 30s. And he's sort of approaches the Shirley Maclaine character, who is the elevator operator in his office building. He works in this really, really big building, an insurance company, and he encounters her in her place of work, where her whole shtick is to be flirtatious and charming and lovely, and he buys into that performance that she's doing, and is head over heels for her and asks her out and all of this. And then the second that he gets alone in a room with her, he's confronted with the fact that she's very unhappy and has all sorts of inner strife that hasn't been visible to him before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in many ways that's like a lot of young men's moment of reckoning, that they have to be emotionally intelligent around women.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting early-ish depiction of that in Hollywood film, of like, the men are a little bit behind on what they need to be aware of.
She's not just there to be your side piece and facilitate your kind of whatever you're up to. Like, she's kind of...
And considering the way that even some of Billy Wilder's other films kind of cast, and they're not bad at any means, but like the way Marilyn Monroe shows up in some of these films as like the perfect blonde, sexy lady, that I think the character dynamic in this film between him and Shirley is a lot more nuanced, as to her having her own problems that are off screen initially, pulled on screen later on, and that both he and the audience have to very quickly recalibrate to, oh, right, we should probably be more considerate of this person and what's going on in her life, and not just be like, awooga, what a charming and beautiful woman. And it's like, no. Like, you've gotta like have a conversation with her, because she might need a bit of compassion and patience, and anyway, it's good.
Was it a common enough theme in cinema at the time where the lead isn't kind of the dominant charismatic man, where he's a little bit the butt of the joke in this?
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of the other leading men at the time, probably even Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart, were kind of the main guy.
Yes, Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart are definitely less flawed leading men in the characters that they play. And Gregory Peck, who we'll be talking about
exactly.
as well. Like, Jack Lemmon's definitely... I don't know if he's like the first of his kind, because to be honest, there could be archetypes going back to silent film of guys who are like a bit
silly, like
just like silly or nerdy or whatever. He's sort of a perfect, for me, middle ground of nerdy, kind of has neurotic. He's neurotic.
Yeah.
But he's the perfect middle ground of neurotic, but also very, very
well-intentioned,
charming, and not grating. Like,
he's not off-putting. Like.
No, he's like a super, super conventionally likable leading man, but in a slightly new neurotic way that previously wasn't the case. And like, I don't know, there's definitely people like that today. But it's kind of hard to find someone who does neurosis well, who isn't also leaning too hard into being either like a dork or a schlub.
Yeah, he in no way projects kind of bitterness towards his position. Like, he's not upset that he's kind of not in charge, I guess.
No, he's like operating within the rules of the
being
culture.
A leading man. Yeah.
But also, I don't know. Anyway, we've gotten ourselves into like 8 conditionals now of our conversation.
Sure, but
I'm lost. But needless to say, I think it's an interesting relationship that the film establishes that's really unique, and I get why people love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not personally my favorite film or my favorite Jack Lemmon film, but it's like a really good capsule of the different energies that I like about everyone involved.
Yeah.
That I would show somebody and be like, now if you like this, there are like 10 movies where Jack Lemmon does this incredible pathos romantic leading man thing, and there's like 5 movies where Shirley Maclaine is just the most delightful, charming person you've ever seen, and there's like 4 other Billy Wilder movies that do a genre mashup in equally a compelling way, where like this is the man who does complete silly Jack Lemmon nonsense in Some Like It Hot, and then also does like melodramatic, the turmoil of the aging Hollywood star woman actress in Sunset Boulevard. And this film is a nice little like combo of those two vibes, and it's perfect tonally, never loses its grip on the audience, I don't think, and you go with the depressing parts and with the optimistic parts, and it's a good like New Year's movie of like of like the reflecting the struggles of loneliness, but also providing a sort of an optimistic outlook as to how you can kind of turn that around and bond with people without necessarily having to be slimy or just focus on getting them into bed, but rather to actually make like a real human connection with them, which feels like a very contemporary idea for a 1960 film to embrace. This film won Best Picture at the Oscars, which I had forgotten and is cool because they don't give Best Picture to good films very often. I'd say this is one of the 6-7 best Picture winners easily. It was nominated against, this is interesting. So in 1961, so it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Supporting Actor for Jack Crushen, who plays the guy with the mustache, Dr. Dreyfus.
Oh, Dr. Dreyfus.
Weird that he gets the Supporting Actor nomination and not Fred MacMurray.
Yeah, because Fred MacMurray's on the poster.
Yeah, unless Fred MacMurray was weirdly like
Up
put
for
in
lead.
for lead.
Yeah.
Best story and screenplay, best art direction, cinematography, film editing, sound. Worth saying, this film looks incredible now on whatever we watched it on, Blu-ray transfer. It looks so good compared to some films from the same era. Wins Best Picture and Best Director. And that was the year that it was nominated against. So Bob Hope hosts the Oscars that year, and it was nominated for Best Picture against The Alamo, Elmer Gantry, Sons and Lovers, and The Sundowners. I will not lie, I have not seen any of those other films. Billy Wilder in Best Director beats Alfred Hitchcock for Psycho.
Ooh.
Burt Lancaster in Elmer Gantry beats Jack Lemmon. Okay, I'm not going to complain about Burt Lancaster. Elizabeth Taylor in Butterfield 8 beats Shirley MacLaine. And Peter Ustinov in Spartacus beats Jack Crushen. And then The Apartment beats in soundtrack. Oh, sorry, in screenplay, it wins over Hiroshima, My Love by Hiroshima Mon Amour by Marguerite Duras. Couple of really funny ones in there. Anyway, it did well at the Oscars, which is nice and fun, and I'm glad when things I like do well. And Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine both win Golden Globes and BAFTAs for their performances.
Did they have drama comedy split in the Golden Globes back then?
That's a good question. They did.
And was this a drama or a comedy?
This was a comedy.
Okay.
So Spartacus wins Best Drama, The Apartment wins Best Comedy, and Jack Lemmon wins Best Actor in a Comedy. He beats Cary Grant in The Grass is Greener, Bob Hope in The Facts of Life, Dirk Bogarde in Song Without End, and Cantinflas in Pepe. And then Shirley MacLaine beats Lucille Ball, Capuchin. People just had funny days like that. Judy Holliday and Bells Are Ringing, which is like Judy Holliday and Bells Are Ringing is like top 20 greatest performances in the history of cinema, in my opinion. So she should have won. And Sophia Loren, and it started in Naples. Shirley MacLaine has an Oscar. She won many years later for Terms of Endearment, which I've seen about half of, and is a honk shoe Sleepy Time James L. Brooks movie. But she wins her Oscar for that. Jack Lemmon has 2 Oscars either side of this movie. One for Mr. Roberts in 1955, and then one he wins later on for Save the Tiger, which is in 1973. So this is right in the middle of his 2 Oscar wins. They turned this film into a Broadway musical with music and lyrics by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. It is basically a jukebox musical of Burt Bacharach and Hal David's best songs. Now, I absolutely love so dearly the music of Burt Bacharach and Hal David. I'd love to see a stage production of this. It's called Promises, Promises. And it is very much follows the plot of this movie. It first opened in 1968, and it is about Chuck Baxter, an ambitious bachelor and junior executive for a large insurance company, J.G. Sheldrake, Fran, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same stuff, and they sing Burt Bacharach songs. I mean, that sounds fantastic to me. People who have appeared in productions of this, because this is fun, because it gives you a sense of who would be in the modern The Apartment.
Yeah.
Sean Hayes... And they did a reading with Anne Hathaway, but then when it ended up opening, they had Kristen Chenoweth, and then they put.
So what year is this?
That was in 2010, and then there was a production in Connecticut. Sorry, there was a production in New York City Center in 1997, starring Martin Short, and in the Jack Lemmon role, and in the Fred MacMurray role, they had Eugene Levy.
That's fun.
Which is really fun. And then finally there was a production with oh no, that's it. Yeah, I thought there was another one. Yep. So there you go. I don't think that those necessarily be the choices in 2024 to be in a movie of The Apartment, but Martin Short and Sean Hayes are both fun choices for a Jack Lemmon role. I think that personally, I think the best Jack Lemmon substitute you could put in a modern film. This is maybe giving him a little too much credit, and it's funny that Sean Hayes was there because I'm about to say Jason Bateman is nowhere near close to being Jack Lemmon level star, but he is the next best thing that we have.
Is he?
I think so.
I don't consider Jason Bateman cute.
Maybe, yeah.
Jack Lemmon's a bit of a cutie.
I guess so. There's one or two Jason Bateman performances, namely Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium and Juno, where he plays Jack Lemmon type characters. Like his character in Juno is like the healthy version of the Kevin Spacey character in American Beauty. We'll circle back to that, where he's kind of like half midlife crisis, middle-aged man who is a little too interested in this teenage girl, but then it ends up being like not the most toxic situation versus American Beauty, which obviously is. Kevin Spacey wanted and wants to be the new Jack Lemmon. That I kind of like the idea of that just not being, of just handing that to Jason Bateman instead. But I
feel like a younger Matt Damon could have done this. Kind of Ripley era Matt Damon.
Yes. Although that would be too young.
Or a bit older.
A bit older, maybe like.
But he's got that kind of charming young innocence to him, I guess.
Maybe he has that a little bit in the Adjustment Bureau. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That era.
He's a bit, Matt Damon's kind of like, not dumb, but like.
Oh yeah.
He's not. Yeah.
He's got naivety.
You can get away with the naivety, yeah.
Yes, interesting. So we may as well confront the Kevin Spacey element. So Kevin Spacey is obsessed with this film, and it seems that so is Sam Mendes to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And Sam Mendes says he watched this film when he was preparing to direct American Beauty. Obviously, he didn't write American Beauty. Alan Ball did, and Kevin Spacey really, 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 I think, took a lot of inspiration from this performance and from Jack Lemmon's career in general when he played Lester Burnham and in that zone of his acting. I think that the scenes in American Beauty where he is interacting with Bob, I think is the name of the boss, because he goes, "That's great, Bob," and this is how he talks in those scenes. And he's completely overdoing it. And of course, when I was 18, I thought this was the greatest performance I'd ever seen. I think the way Kevin Spacey deals with all of that corporate office-y bullshit in American Beauty is so ripped from The Apartment.
He thinks
he admitted it because when he won his Oscar for American Beauty, he dedicated it to Jack Lemmon in The Apartment and said, "Of course, Jack Lemmon should have won for The Apartment, but he didn't. So here I am." So he was putting that thought in people's heads intentionally, and it's pathetic. But I can't say that it's not a little bit.
Like American Beauty is obviously a much more cynical film, and he seems far more aware that it's pathetic. Like Jack Lemmon doesn't have any sense of being pathetic in this. Really, he's not aware of it.
No,
he doesn't suffer because of it.
No, I mean that film ultimately is aiming for a different end goal, which is like that character literally dies at the end of American Beauty.
Yes,
he dies while trying to be a nonce. Like it's an incredibly It's a bit. I feel like it's a bit of a stretch to kind of.
Like,
I guess it's interesting because it's not as on the nose as it could be. It's not as if this film has anything thematically related to American Beauty,
in the slightest.
Other than the idea of being sort of cast aside within a corporate environment.
Yeah.
But anyway, we need to say no more about it. It's there, and Kevin Spacey befriended Jack Lemmon later in his career. They were in Glengarry together. And Jack Lemmon fucking had Kevin Spacey reading at his funeral. And they, like, to the end of his life, Kevin Spacey anointed himself and got Jack Lemmon to anoint him as his successor.
Yeah.
Which is very frustrating now when you kind of realize, well, Jack Lemmon was by all accounts, delightful person who never did anything bad. And Kevin Spacey is a disgusting prick. And it's horrible that the last person that Jack Lemmon mentored
died thinking Kevin Spacey
was going to be his good. And that Jack Lemmon, the last person he mentored in the later years of his life, was like an awful person. It's like, think of all the great actors that could have gotten to spend that time with Jack Lemmon, and it was Kevin Spacey. Obviously, I've enjoyed Kevin Spacey's acting many a time, but he doesn't deserve anything nice in the world. So, but anyway, Jack Lemmon is one of, if not my favorite American actor. I would die for all of his performances. I have inherited my love of him from my parents, for sure, but just so many great performances that I would love to introduce to you and everybody else I know. His first film is in 1949, and he's very quickly in great films. I'll be very quick running through some of these. 1954, he's in It Should Happen to You with Judy Holliday, which is a great movie where she wants to put her face up on a billboard, and he is the funny boyfriend. Then in 1954, he's in a movie called Pfft, also with Judy Holliday and Kim Novak. Wins his first Oscar for Mr. Roberts in 1955, which is a real boy party we should probably do at some point because it's Henry Fonda, James Cagney, William... oh, never mind. I thought it was William Holden. Ignore me. In 1958, there was a movie we're definitely doing on the podcast someday. Jimmy Stewart and Kim Novak and him are in Bell Book and Candle together the same year as Vertigo, which is an amazing movie. And then in 1959, probably his most widely seen film, Some Like It Hot, which is like every person who does not really watch classic Hollywood films' favorite 1950s film. Like, there are a lot of random Irish parents and grandparents who have shown their kids Some Like It Hot despite having seen like no other film from the 50s. I don't really get why it's the one that broke through, but it is. It's very accessible. Also has interesting early drag, trans kind of themes. It
just got good ratings on RT once, and they continued to show
I guess
it.
So.
Like,
I just remember in primary school people being like, "We watched that," and I was like, well, "You've seen that, but you haven't seen like anything else from the 50s."
Yeah.
Then The Apartment, and then he makes a mix of more comedies and more. God, there's some great shit in here. The Notorious Landlady with Kim Novak and Fred Astaire and Jack Lemmon, like just loads of great boy party eligible movies. The Wackiest Ship in the Army.
It's great when there was only like 10 actors because they all got to do stuff with each other. Yeah.
1962, he does this pretty serious movie called Days of Wine and Roses where he plays an alcoholic. Irma La Douce sees him and Shirley MacLaine reunite for this kind of weird French vaudevillian, French prostitute, Paris red light district movie, which is like 3 hours long and it's like funny but not as good as The Apartment. Then in 1963, he's in Under the Yum Yum Tree, Good Neighbor Sam, How to Murder Your Wife, The Great Race, which is exhausting. Any of these that sound bad, it's because they were directed by Blake Edwards. The Fortune Cookie, Love with LUV. Then 1968, one of his other most iconic films, The Odd Couple, which is, of course, redone as a TV show and then redone again as a TV show with the great late Matthew Perry in 2015, which ran for 3 seasons. 1969 is one of my favorite Jack Lemmon films, probably my favorite, which is The April Fools with Catherine Deneuve, which is a beautiful, beautiful film. Then in 1970, he's in The Out of Towners, and then we're into his second Oscar, 1973 for Save the Tiger, The Front Page, which is another Billy Wilder film, which is not that great. And then he's in like stuff like Airport 77 and The China Syndrome, where they kind of pull him in as like the kind of 60-year-old guy who's like the fountain of American goodness and principle. I watched The China Syndrome a few weeks ago. That's Jane Fonda and Michael Douglas on cover, a nuclear accident, and Jack Lemmon is the whistleblower from the power plant. And it's a beautiful performance. He's great. He's like he's got so much integrity. It's wonderful. Sort of the kind of thing that Tom Hanks does now was what Jack Lemmon was doing in the 70s and 80s.
Mr. Good Guy at his job.
Yeah, Mr. Good Guy at his job. He'd be doing, now if he was around today and he was Tom Hanks' age, he'd be the guy in Sully and those kinds of films, you know? The Post, yeah. He'd be like newspaper editors and...
people Americans are proud of.
Yeah, people Americans are proud of. And then in 1991, he's in JFK in a sort of smallish role. He's in Dad, which is based on... he plays fucking Ted Danson's dad. And then he's in Glengarry Glen Ross. And then he's in My Fellow Americans, which is a weird movie where he plays a former U.S. president. And then his final film is The Legend of Bagger Vance with Matt Damon and Will Smith in 2000. And then he dies. Shirley MacLaine, I'm not going to run through her list in the same way. Shirley MacLaine, anyway, is still alive and still working, which is fantastic. She's 90 years old. She turned 90 in April. She has been in Early Murders in the Building recently. She was in Glee. She's in Downton Abbey. She's very much still a part of modern culture. She, of course, was in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty as Ben Stiller's mother. She was in Bernie as Jack Jack Black's love interest, as I pointed out to you last night. What a career
Bizarre
to
film.
play the love interest to both Jack Lemmon and Jack Black. What an absolute treat for her.
Shows you where the state of Hollywood ended up.
Exactly. But she's survived now for many generations. I mean, talk about people. She worked with Alfred Hitchcock and she worked with Richard Linklater. It's incredible. And she worked with Vincent Minnelli and she worked with fucking whoever makes Only Murders in the Building, or I guess Ben Stiller. Incredible. It's just it makes me so happy when people live that long and work in that many films.
Yeah.
My favorite Shirley MacLaine film is definitely Bob Fosse's Sweet Charity, where she is in every frame of that film, I would argue, except maybe one scene in the middle where she disappears for 5 minutes and what's his face? Great. I'm sure whose name I'm forgetting. Sammy Davis Jr. takes over the film. But anyway, that's great. If you like Shirley MacLaine, watch Sweet Charity. What a Way to Go is a film where she has romantic subplots with Paul Newman, Robert Mitchum, Dean Martin, Gene Kelly, and Dick Van Dyke. So that's worth a watch. It's not that great, but it's worth a watch. And she is in lots of great stuff. Being There and many more things. And I don't have a whole lot else to say about her, really. But she is not in this film as much as I perhaps thought before I put it on. But at that point, I'd committed to the idea that it was a boy party movie.
It grows into it. The plot kind of evolves
She's
to
just not in the
accommodate
first
her
half a
character.
lot,
She's
yeah.
not, yeah. Like, she comes in and there's a bit of a tone switch kind of halfway through where it
Yeah.
kind of goes from this kind of slapstick kind of comedy thing to a more serious, depressed lady dealing with her problems kind of thing. And
I mean, if we go, my criteria these days for what's a boy party and what isn't is largely based off the marketing and the poster. And if you look at the poster, which I have up here, because we'll do our little poster corner, the poster says, movie-wise, there has never been anything like. The Apartment, love-wise, laugh-wise, or otherwise wise. Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, Fred McMurray. And then it says, on the keychain, it says, Billy, Some Like It Hot, Wilder production, which is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
They should do that now. They should be like a film by Barry Moonlight Jenkins.
just give them
the
a
Lion King.
give the director a nickname of one of his films.
Yeah. Well, but put it in the middle, like a nickname. Yeah, like in quotation marks.
David the Killer Fincher.
Yeah, like Deadpool and Wolverine should be like a film by Sean Big Fat Liar Levy. Like,
yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
That'd be fun.
Anyway, the poster's fun. It's bright red, and the two of them are looking far jollier than they do in any scene in the film. And then there's a key and a keychain.
There are so many great posters that are just red with little black silhouettes of characters on them.
Exactly.
All the best.
Some on our wall right now.
Some on our wall right now.
Do I have anything else to say about this film? Who won the movie? We don't really ask that question anymore. I don't know.
We won the movie.
We won
watch it
because we got to watch the Apartment.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to point out was the office sets.
Oh yeah,
which looked
spectacular.
spectacular.
Need to figure out what happened there.
Yeah,
were there elements of back projection? Were there? I don't know.
Because it's like we saw something similar in.
I have the answer.
Oh, go ahead.
Art director Alexandra Troner used forced perspective to create the set of a large insurance company office. The set appeared to be a very long room full of desks and workers. However, successively smaller people and desks were placed to the back of the room, ending up with children. He designed the set of Baxter's apartment to appear smaller and shabbier than the spacious apartments. I'm gonna need citation on that one. They got children at the
small
back,
tables,
small people and children to look. Now, forced perspective was a big thing before they had VFX. I know in Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
But what's the issue here of having just a bigger room? Is it like a focus issue with the cameras?
I don't know. I know that forced perspective, the main use I'm aware of, is that in Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which is a film made long before VFX.
Yeah.
The little people are standing
in the distance,
and it's just, it's shot to look like they're standing right beside the other people.
Right. Yeah.
That's the kind of shit they're doing here. It's insane. It's incredible. It's so much cleverer than anything they do today. Wilder generally required his actors to adhere exactly to the script, but he allowed Jack Lemmon to improvise in two scenes. The one where he squirts a bottle of nasal spray across the room, and the one where he sings while cooking spaghetti strained through the grid of a tennis racket. We couldn't go through this episode without mentioning the straining of spaghetti through a tennis racket.
No.
Something that we will be attempting in our home.
And as he said, you should have seen my backhand.
Yes, it's fantastic. We need to
Great.
we need to start doing that ourselves. Fred McMurray, after playing nice men in films his whole career, was accosted on the street by women who berated him for making a dirty, filthy movie, and one hit him with her purse. I wouldn't call this a dirty, filthy movie, but I guess if you're like an evangelical
cheating
Christian,
on his wife.
He's cheating on his wife, and the film contains themes of suicide and pills, noshing on pills.
Yeah.
And that is the film. I got nothing else to say about it.
I should get an apartment.
You should get an
I
apartment.
should get an apartment. I should live alone. I should kick you out.
Yeah. Jack Lemmon's films have grossed $808 million. His biggest film being JFK, and Shirley MacLaine's films have grossed 1.2
Yeah,
billion,
Shirley.
with her biggest films being Valentine's Day, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and Bewitched, all from the past 20 years. So
Yeah.
silly.
That's just how it works.
Oh, that's how it works. So I don't know if we're gonna bother with. What we'll do for the box office game is
Best film or top
the
earning films of
the year 1960.
Yeah.
Give me that, and then I'll do the credits game real quick as well. So, credits game. What will I do for the credits game? This is the game where I'm going to read out to Shane the cast list of a
Okay.
film according to Letterboxd from bottom to top. The film will feature one of the two actors we discussed in this episode of Boy Party. Shane's going to have to guess what the film is as quickly as he can. I will try and pick one that you'll be able to guess. Don't worry.
That probably means it's going to be
This
modern.
might not be as easy as I
Is it Walter Mitty?
thought. No. You see, I have to pick what I haven't
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned.
Ah.
I'm gonna pick one that you're not gonna get, but it'll be fun to read out the names.
Yeah.
Okay. The year? Would you like?
Yeah, go on.
1996.
Go on. Good.
Perdita Weeks, Andrew Schofield, Ken Dodd, John Mills, Judi Dench, John Gielgud, Richard Attenborough, Rosemary Harris, Charlton Heston, Ravel Isyanov, Don Warrington, Simon Russell Beale, Billy Crystal, Brian Blessed, Ian McElhinney, Jack Lemmon. I'm not done.
I know.
Gerard Depardieu, Robin Williams.
Can I just knock off Glengarry Glen Ross?
It's not Glengarry Glen Ross.
Okay.
Michael Maloney, Timothy Spall.
Okay, it's something kind of English.
Sure. The remaining names are not going to make it
Okay.
any easier.
Go on. Robin Williams, Billy Crystal, that low. Is it? It's comedy. So.
Richard. No, it's
No.
not. I'll give you one more clue. The running time is 242 minutes, but it is a film.
3 hours.
No, 4 hours.
4 hours. Apologies.
That's
mate.
4 hours and 2 minutes. Richard Byers, Julie Christie, Kate Winslet, Derek Jacobi, and the lead and the director, Sir Kenneth Branagh.
It's Shakespeare.
It is Shakespeare.
Okay.
You get 3 guesses. Male lead.
Male lead. Is it Macbeth?
Oh my!
Hamlet.
No, Hamlet.
Hamlet.
This is Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet.
Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet.
I will watch someday because of all those actors,
Yeah.
but 4 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Good grief! Kind of fun though if you're Kenneth Branagh to make Hamlet. And put
Yes.
Robin Williams and Jack Lemmon and Billy Crystal in it. Like that's just fun. That's just fun.
That's why
not
wouldn't you?
silly
If you get the
nonsense.
chance to do that, why would
Silly,
you not?
Silly behavior. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Top films of 1960.
All right. Hit me up.
You should be able to get the top 5 anyway.
Yeah. It's
Well, not guess. You'll know them with hints.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a Ken Anakin film.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Okay. Ken Anakin Skywalker.
Ken Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is.
The 2 lead characters, the 2 top billed characters, are just referred to as father and mother.
What the hell? Just referred to as father and mother.
That's the characters' names. So that
Interesting.
gives you an idea of like...
Is it Fiddler on the Roof?
No.
Okay.
It gives you an idea of kind of the dynamic of the characters. What is their relationship?
So there's a child in the film.
Could be.
Could be child. Father and mother. Is it carousel?
No.
Um,
What unit of society contains a father and a mother?
a family.
A family.
Is it the Parent Trap?
No.
I don't know.
The tagline is The Adventure of Adventures.
Swiss Family Robinson.
Swiss Family Robinson.
I've never seen that. I don't know nothing about that.
Top.
You're telling me that the Swiss
Earning-
Family Robinson, the parents don't have names. That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's proper weird. All right.
One fun thing the numbers has here is it gives its total 1960 gross,
Yeah.
which is 40.4 million,
Yeah.
but it also gives the tickets sold figure.
Oh, that is fun.
It sold 58 million tickets.
So it would have made $500 million by today's standards. More.
Yeah, it was going for like
Yeah.
70 cents a ticket,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, okay.
So if you multiply that by 15,
So
I
if
guess.
they were 15, it would make $750 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's whatever. That's like a Disney thing. I've never seen that. Never really did the rounds.
I
on-
know the name. I have no idea what
Oh,
it
it's
is.
a famous book. Like,
Yeah, it's
that
a book.
film. That film has never really done the rounds on Orphe. Like, it must be
It's a
long.
Christmas release.
Yeah. All right.
That's 2 hours, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Next up,
That's too long. 42 in the morning though.
a film that was referenced earlier on the podcast for this specific podcast for some reason. It's one we're well aware of.
Psycho.
It's Psycho.
Good.
32 million, 46 million tickets. Huge
Wait,
hit.
that's me trying to sing Psycho. That's
That's
wrong.
you trying to sing Psycho. Next up,
Psycho's really, really good. That's a good film.
it is a good. Really?
You know what's bad?
That's a.
You know what's bad is the shot-for-shot remake with Vince Vaughn. That's not good.
All
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, I guess this would have been one of the earlier films for this director.
Interesting. Who could the director be? Someone that you know? Is
Yeah,
it
someone I'm well aware of.
It's not Sidney Lumet.
This is another long film.
An early film for this director. Is this director mostly known for like 70s, 80s stuff? Is this Coppola?
No, maybe a little bit later.
Mm,
70s to the 90s.
Interesting. And you're familiar. I don't know. I'm gonna need some genre clue or something.
Period piece. Not set in the 70s like it's a historical.
Was it Tom Jones? No.
Nope.
That's not,
We've
that's
got
not
a
this one.
review from here. Let's see.
You got a review from me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That makes everything easier.
I enjoyed movies like this more when I was a child and had a better attention span.
Okay.
But there's a pretty great bunch of faces in this.
Right. Interesting.
Score is V good.
What the hell?
You watched this in 77?
What? I watched this in 77.
The House.
Oh, I watched this in the house.
You
in
have it tagged.
77.
That's Cinch Core, isn't it?
Yeah. God, I don't know. I need a clue. Give me
I'll,
an actor.
the next hint will be a big one. You have it tagged as blank check.
I have it tagged as blank check. So
Yeah.
it's a blank check director.
Mhm.
So it's Kubrick.
It's Kubrick.
And the film is Spartacus.
Spartacus.
Oh, I mentioned it earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. That's true. I would have enjoyed that more when I was younger. Kirk Douglas, Tony Curtis, a lot of Billy Wilder heads in this. Peter Ustinov wins the Oscar. Yeah.
We do 2 more.
Yep.
This one kind of has a. This is a okay. Paul Newman, Eva Marie Saint,
Paul Newman and Eva Marie Saint. Shit, I do know this one.
and Otto Preminger. Film.
Yeah. Someone up there likes me?
Nope. One word.
HUD.
Nope.
Shit, if it's not HUD. If it's not HUD, I got no idea. What's the word? Is it?
Looks like a World War II film.
Oh, I don't know. What is it?
Exodus.
Oh, I wasn't gonna get that.
Really?
I don't know what that is. Exodus.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Gods and Kings.
No.
No gods and kings in
And
that movie.
number 5, then we have our beloved apartment.
It is my beloved apartment.
The romantic comedy genre, as it said.
Anything else in there?
Tall Story, Please Don't Eat the Daisies,
Emer
Elmer Gantry, Pepe,
Gantry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pepe starring Canty Floss.
The Alamo.
Yeah, these are all the Oscar nominees.
Yeah, it only goes down 15.
Not an amazing year.
Nope.
60s really kicks into action after this. Thank
The-
God for the apartment.
The apartment sold 27 million tickets.
So yeah, $250 million.
I guess so.
Basically would have done Valentine's Day numbers.
It came out on January 15th. June 15th. Apologies. My vision up close does not seem to be great today. Okay. Calling Elmer Emer and
so that's
June,
64 years ago. Jesus Christ. And Shirley Maclaine is
still going. And you know what?
She's 26? Yeah.
Apartments have not improved at all.
God, so she's my age in this. Yeah, that makes sense. You know what? She actually reads as 26 in this.
Oh, she does. Yeah.
She feels like a woman I would know. Like,
yeah, very much so.
In good ways, not in bad.
No, she's like,
she's a modern young woman. Like,
very modern.
Oh, what a great film.
Yeah.
You'll never believe this. We've been recording for exactly 45 minutes.
Bang on. We're so good at this. Yeah.
What a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. There are far better analyses of this film available if you want to hear people talk about this in a more academic way.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very good Bright Wall, Dark Room essay called The Lonely City by Angelica Jade Bastion that I highly recommend reading. It's very good. It's about this film and a lot more intelligent than anything we've just said. But anyway, I love Jack Lemmon and Shirley Maclaine a great deal. We'll be discussing Jack Lemmon again on this podcast probably at some point this year because there's like too many to not do. And Bell Booking Handle is going to be a banger of an episode. Thank you for tuning in. You can visit boypartypod.com for all of our other episodes. You can go to boypartypod on Twitter and Instagram. And please leave the key when you are leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I will I'll refill the liquor for you and make sure there's nice records and stuff. But you please
just give me a week's notice.
Give me a week's notice. Yeah. Thank you. Get home safe. Bye bye.
Bye bye.